I'm sitting in a field. My hands are covered in red from the sweet, juicy strawberries I'm eating, one after the other after the other. I love every single bite of these fresh strawberries we've just collected from a pick-your-own farm. I know I shouldn't be eating them. Only minutes ago, my mom told me I can't. But here I am, popping them one by one into my mouth. They taste so good. I can't forget this memory from when I was 5 years old. Back then, it wasn't that my mom was trying to be mean. It's that she knew, we both knew, I'd break out in a rash if I ate those strawberries. My entire childhood, ever since I could remember, was consumed with what I couldn't eat. I was allergic to almost everything I ate and the environment around me, even the grass. I hated how my skin was itchy and irritated all the time. I hated how my skin looked with the rashes and the eczema. My mom hated watching me as I would itch my skin until it would bleed. After years of trying to pinpoint which foods were causing my allergies and lots of different remedies and creams, when I was 13, a family friend said to my parents, you should try taking her to see a naturopathic doctor. We had no idea what a naturopathic doctor was. We didn't know what they did or if they could help us, but we were open-minded to try something different, because nothing else had worked so far. Within a few months of seeing this doctor and following his plan, all of my allergies cleared up. It was like magic, because we really didn't understand how it all worked. I was relieved and happy to see my skin heal and look like normal. This was my first realization that the body has an ability to be able to heal itself. This was a major influence as to why I wanted to become a doctor, because I wanted to help people like myself so they didn't need to suffer unnecessarily. 9 years later, I made the decision to become a naturopathic doctor, and I was accepted into the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine. In my second year in school, my world was shaken. My dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I was devastated. My dad was the greatest. The kind of dad who was childlike himself and always ensured he spent quality time with us. He had the greatest laugh and the kind of personality that would light up a room. I was blessed with the most amazing parents who moved from the small island of Jamaica to Canada to give my brother and I a life of opportunities. My dad was one of the most important people in my life. I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to live forever. So I searched for ways to treat my dad's cancer. I was coming across a lot of important answers, but I needed more time. And before I was able to find the solution to save my dad, he passed away 9 short months later. This hit me so hard. I cried daily. I felt like everyone else was continuing with their lives and my world had just crumbled around me. I just never imagined a world without my dad in it. After my dad passed away, I decided to focus my practice on treating cancer. If I wasn't able to save my dad, I wanted to be able to save other people's loved ones. And over the years, I have. 2 years later, I married an incredible man, and a few years later, I was overjoyed to find out I was pregnant. Since my parents had been such great role models, I knew that being a parent was one of the most amazing gifts, but also one of the greatest responsibilities. And with this huge responsibility, I had instant concerns. I thought of my childhood, the allergies, the rashes, the eczema. I didn't want my child to have to go through what I went through. I worried about passing down my health issues as well as my family's health issues of heart disease and cancer. I wondered if it was possible for my child to not have to go through the same health challenges that I went through. I made it my quest to ensure that she didn't have to. I poured all of my research into figuring out how she wouldn't have to suffer. What I came across shocked me. 1 in 2 children suffer from chronic disease. 1 in 13 children suffer from food allergies. Food allergies have increased by more than 50% over the last decade. Why were food allergies on the rise? After treating many patients in my practice with chronic disease and cancer, I've come to know that healing the digestive tract is the key to healing the body. We literally are what we eat. Our bodies are able to convert the foods we eat into every cell, tissue, organ in our body. What we eat and how well our body absorbs the nutrients from the foods we're eating dictates the health of our body. The better shape our digestive tract is in, the better health we are in. There's a study called the Pottinger cat study. Cats were given a diet that was not ideal for their digestive tract, and they developed all sorts of allergies. If this diet was continued for a second generation, the incidence of allergies increased, and by the third generation, the incidence of allergies was close to 100%. I thought of my childhood allergies and passing those on to my child, and I became determined to break the cycle. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this, but I started with what I did know was important: breastfeeding. For a baby's delicate, immature digestive tract, the perfect source of nutrition is breast milk. Infants receive their innate immune system as well as nutrients, enzymes, hormones, and healthy bacteria that they need to grow and develop from breast milk. As I breastfed my baby, I continued my research to break my generational cycle of allergies. Through my research, I was focusing on child development. When I looked at other programs out there, I realized that they didn't focus on child development at all. The other food programs out there were wrong. I knew I had to create something different. So I began to put together a food introduction program for babies based on 3 principles that I discovered that would enable me to give my child the best start in life and build her digestive tract properly from the beginning. The first principle is build a healthy microbiome. What is the microbiome? The microbiome is an ecosystem of bacteria and fungus that live within our digestive tract and is essential for processing nutrients, proper immune function, and preventing disease. The more diversity there is in the healthy microbes, the healthier we are and the longer we'll live. Between birth and age 3, we form the foundation of our microbiome. This is the microbiome we will have for the rest of our lives. This means that we have a small window of opportunity where we can actually build a solid foundation of health in our children. The way we build this healthy foundation, this microbiome, is by the way we introduce foods to our babies. The second principle is support proper child development by introducing foods in line with organ maturation. The second idea I came across was the study of ontogenetics. Ontogenetics is the study of human development from embryo to adulthood. Our organs begin to develop in the womb. Then once we are born, each organ continues to mature and reaches full maturation at different stages as we age. In order to support proper child development, we need to be introducing foods in line with how their organs are maturing. For example, the pancreas doesn't reach full maturation till age 2. This means that if we introduce grains before age 2, then they do not produce sufficient amounts of amylase from the pancreas to properly break down grains. The third principle is eat real nutrient-dense foods. The third idea is understanding that since the beginning of human existence, our bodies have been hardwired to break down real foods, not processed, packaged, chemically latent foods. Our food supply has been infiltrated with chemicals, including pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, antibiotics, synthetic hormones, preservatives, additives, dyes. We need to be feeding our children foods that their bodies can recognize, foods that they can turn into useful fuels and helpful building blocks. The number one food that parents are introducing to their babies at 6 months old is baby cereal. This is one of the worst things we could be doing since the pancreas doesn't reach full maturation till age 2. This is a real paradigm shift for most parents. So what should we be introducing to our babies at 6 months old? Vegetables. Hypoallergenic vegetables that are easy to digest, like broccoli and cauliflower, and healthy fats like avocados. At 8 months, we can introduce fruits like apples and berries. At 10 months, we can introduce the proteins of beef, and we could also introduce more difficult to break down vegetables like cabbage. At 12 months, then we can introduce goat's milk and more acidic fruits and vegetables like tomatoes. At 18 months, we can introduce beans, lentils, and shellfish. At 24 months, the pancreas has reached full maturation, so therefore would be able to introduce grains. At this point, the digestive tract is more established, the microbiome is more developed, the immune system is stronger, making this a good time to introduce hyperallergenic foods, including grains, cow's dairy, egg whites, soy, nuts. Waiting longer to introduce hyperallergenic foods gives the digestive tract more time to develop and mature. Therefore, I recommend introducing peanuts at age 3. I'm not judging parents for feeding their kids differently. I think parents do the best they can with what they know. That's why I think it's so important to spread this message far and wide so that we can build children's health from the beginning. It's easier to build the body up right from the beginning, but if your parents didn't do this with you or you didn't do this with your kids, there's still hope. It just takes more work. When I think back to when my dad passed away, it still makes me sad. But this was also when I began to understand one of the foundational components to healing the body is that the key to the health of the body lies in the health of the digestive tract. Chronic disease is on the rise. Heart disease, cancer. I know this personally. My mom had a major stroke at 54, and my dad died of cancer. I've lost both my parents to chronic disease. That's why I'm so passionate about understanding how to prevent it. By building health in the digestive tract, we have the potential to prevent all chronic disease in adults. And this can begin from the minute our baby is born, from that moment we are holding that precious child in our arms, and what we feed our babies every single day after that. Now imagine a world where we can change the health of our nation, where we can avoid digestive disturbances in our babies like colic, constipation, diarrhea, where we can eliminate childhood health issues like allergies, eczema, skin rashes, where we can prevent chronic disease in adults by the way we feed our children, by building a solid foundation for long-term health. We have an opportunity to change the health of our nation by the way we introduce foods to our babies. Are you ready to build a nation of healthy, thriving children? It could be as simple as feeding our babies broccoli at 6 months old.